Welcome to the Beauty Blend podcast. This is where we're delving deep into the world of beauty, not only from the outside, but from the inside out. We're so excited to have you here and listening in. I'm Steffany.
And I'm Brittany.
So today's goal, we're really just going to talk about a little bit about ourselves and go into what this podcast means to us and how we came about coming up with the name and everything else. So Brittany, you want to go ahead and just kind of talk about yourself, introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Brittany, and I have kind of been obsessed with skincare for a long time. Not because I have good skin, actually, it's the opposite. I've really struggled with it in the past. So in my spare time, I was always kind of researching different ways I could kind of help myself out, make myself feel better. And that's how I kind of got here today.
Yeah. So I'm Steffany. We're actually sisters. We should introduce that too. We are sisters. She's the older sister. I'm the younger sister.
35 over here.
And I'm 29, so not yet 30. But we really just, even though we're sisters, actually, we always talk about, we are actually so opposite and so different. Our skin's different. Our hair's different. Our experiences, obviously, in life are very different. So we always talk about stuff together about society and what those trends are and how we're trying to keep up with everything. And our biggest joke,
or lack
thereof, mostly me not knowing anything. She keeps me cool and young. But
I try.
Really just kind of addressing just everything that goes on in society and expectations and how we try our best to keep up with it. But
I think it's worth noting, though, that we have a beauty business. So I think being in the beauty business, we see it on a whole nother level.
A little different level.
So we talk about that a lot, kind of like the pressures of just all the things that we feel like we have to do to kind of keep up in a sense. And sometimes it's exhausting. And sometimes we're like, we just don't want to do this. It doesn't feel maybe authentic to us. And not to say like people that do it, it's bad and authentic, but just for us personally. And sometimes the pressure that we feel when we are in these situations to look a certain way, especially when people are coming to us for beauty advice.
For sure.
We feel like we have to, we're really fives if on a good day.
Yes. So you'll hear a lot, or we joke a lot. This is kind of how the podcast came about. We joke about how we know we're pretty girls.
We're okay.
But we're just okay. Like we're average, and we always talk and it's okay to be average. And it's, again, we'll be telling a lot of our stories about how we kind of accepted this average lifestyle.
Let's talk about how we got
not
to
even
Beauty
accepted
Blend.
It yet.
We heard pretty average.
Yes.
And that's like kind of like a word people use, but then in the sense of being pretty, like as in beautiful, and then average. And we're like, how can we kind of play on that? Because that feels very in line and authentic to who we kind of are.
Yeah, pretty
average, pretty, however you want to spin it.
Exactly. So that's how we came up with the Beauty Blend. We just decided, being beautiful is not just on the outside. You'll hear us say that a lot too. It's really how we have blended our really mind, body, spirit into all this, to accepting who we are, finding the beauty in ourselves, and just that whole journey that we've kind of gone through and are still going through every single day. It's a constant journey of growth and development, and you have your trials and things that come up that kind of trigger you and make you feel a little bit less beautiful some days than others. So
I'll say for me personally, like I have some stuff going on, like with my skin, for example, that's kind of permanent. So you really do have to like go inwards in finding like stuff that you don't put so much value on your external appearance so that I don't know. You're just kind of coming into acceptance with yourself regardless of the outside, because you can't really change that. You know what I mean?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And we'll talk about that a lot too, because that's one of her
big things.
Skin journeys and a big thing in her life, and what kind of caused all that too. But I kind of skipped introducing even myself. Just quick background. I have my master's degree in occupational therapy. I did work at a large hospital system here in Columbus, Ohio for a few years. Really quickly kind of got burned out, as that's a common story. And I won't go too much into my story right now. We'll talk about it throughout the next episodes, but opened a health and wellness business with our father, who's also the medical director of our companies, Innovative Wellness and Innovative Aesthetics. And then with that kind of came the aesthetic side of things. It literally fell into our lap. Opened up a whole new door. If you were to ask me even just a year ago if I was ever going to get into the beauty industry, I would have been like, oh, me? Heck no. And so it's just been kind of fun to grow in all of it. I'm an expert panelist at some of the conferences. I train other clinics sometimes now on how to use their medical devices for aesthetics. And here we are battling really just sometimes the everyday stressors of what that can bring and challenges too.
Well, it's kind of funny how you say heck no to the
Heck no.
beauty industry. Because I, for a long time, we can get into all of that, but
I don't have time at this moment.
this moment to go back to 1988. But I was kind of, I don't want to say lost, but I was not really sure where I was going, what my purpose was. And when Dad started the aesthetic side, he just planted the seed. Would you be interested in being an esthetician? And for some reason, I was like, well, duh. Like, why haven't I thought about that? Like, yeah, like obviously, because that's literally what I spend half my day doing. So to me, that felt like a no-brainer. But it's funny though, even though when he said that, it felt like a no-brainer, how long of a period before that I was completely like ignoring that side of myself. And I think part of that too, if I'm going to be completely honest, people can see the beauty industry as very vapid, maybe is the right word, or just like surface level, superficial.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think I like necessarily belong in the beauty industry. I don't think I'm like
in the
typical
standard.
I'm not a Barbie. You know what I mean?
Yes. And you'll hear some of our stories about why we say that.
Yeah.
And that'll probably in one of our next episodes.
But yeah, so I'm just.
It's been a journey for you, that's for sure. It's something that she's always been into like makeup and just getting a lot of skincare.
A little too much makeup, to be honest, but who cares?
Yeah. In terms of, because we have another sister as well. So in terms of the three of us, she's always been the one that I would say, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. She cares. She is always with the heels. Oh man, there've been.
I went hiking with heels on. Yeah. It was the boots though with the heels. That makes sense.
She's always got the heels. The makeup's always done up. Where I'm not always like that, even to this day.
You're the sister that shows up in this workout.
You're lucky
clothes,
I showered probably. Hair hadn't been washed in a few days, and so that again shows our little personalities and how different we are, even though we are related apparently.
And in the beauty industry, they say. Still.
And have survived in the beauty industry. So,
should we touch on Dad's background though?
Yeah, we can kind of touch on. So, our dad, and we'll introduce him in one of our upcoming episodes, but he is the medical director of Innovative Wellness and Innovative Aesthetics. He was actually a emergency room physician for over 30 years. So, he has over 30 years of experience in the medical industry, or traditional medical industry. I will cut short to this because he'll go into length about it, but he basically changed his whole personal life and became kind of more spiritual and just was seeing other sides of medicine, like more alternative sides that weren't being addressed in the traditional sense. So with that kind of came the innovative wellness side. And the goal of that business is to really bridge the gap between traditional and holistic medicine. And we know that there's a time and place for everything. And that's really his baby. We always say that's his baby. And then again, kind of with the wellness clinic opening, we got into the aesthetics. But really the goal of our aesthetics company, and it'll also jump into this podcast, the goal of our podcast is everything's like non-invasive. We don't want to do anything that involves a lot of needles or pain. It's really just let's enhance the beauty you already have because everybody's beautiful. So let's enhance the beauty that you do have. But then we also want to work on those internal struggles that you're having, or maybe those subconscious thoughts that are affecting you every single day and causing you to really struggle.
Explain what the subconscious thoughts are.
Yeah, so I can get into that a little bit here, and we'll get more into that in some other episodes. But basically, our subconscious thoughts, they affect us every day, whether we're really aware of it or not, because they're in the background. They're always playing. Even it could be from trauma back. Someone said something to you when you were 4 years old, and your brain stored that memory. It could be something that something happened yesterday or even this morning.
We're not really aware of that, though.
But you're not aware that it's still affecting you today. Like you think, oh, that happened so many years ago. It's not bothering me anymore. I forgot about it, or I don't really care about it. You probably don't even remember the event.
No, I would say like you're not even conscious of it. Like it's not even in your memory bank.
You don't remember it. Yeah. So really those are affecting you literally every single day. And it can be causing blocks for you. So you could be
What do you mean by blocks?
Avoiding situations. So we'll talk about her real quick. Her block for a while, when we finally brought up, why don't you become an esthetician? And that felt natural for her when we first said it. But for years, she hadn't done that or pursued that. Probably because there was a part of her subconscious who didn't feel like she could be an esthetician because she didn't have the perfect skin, the flawless skin. So once that was kind of planted in her brain, she still had a lot to work through. We're still working through it. But she still had things to work through. I'm speaking for you, so I'm sorry. No, but she still had things to work through to help herself accept that this is an identity. And actually, I personally, as someone who also doesn't have perfect skin, I would prefer to go to somebody and get their advice if someone who's actually struggled with skin issues versus somebody who's been very lucky and been born with beautiful skin. And I'm jealous of that still to this day. But I like taking the opinion of someone who's actually gone through the struggle. But
Okay, let me
I'm
stop you there.
jumping back. Yeah.
There's actually not a lot of people with perfect skin.
Well, they have that appearance of the perfect skin.
Yeah, but literally it's like 18 to 22.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's after puberty and before the aging starts.
Before those hormones start.
Yeah, and the hormones.
Messing with you. That's a good point.
I really like to say in skincare there's no such thing as normal. They have like that saying you have dry, oily, or normal, or combo skin. And really there's no such thing as normal. You have balanced skin, which means you have equal oil and water, but we can get into that.
Say that's another episode.
I know, but
no, it's good. That's good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And I know we're kind of starting to get into some of the skincare and all that, but really it's kind of bringing us back to the goal of this podcast is to really address all those differences or all those myths. Like I'm obviously still don't have it all figured out. And, there's different things that each of us know and tips we want to give and things that we've tried and either have failed or tried and have been successful. And again, we kind of jumped with the subconscious mind, but really just also talking about things that we can do internally to address that subconscious thoughts that could be affecting us. Some things that we do in our everyday lives or try to do in our everyday lives to work on that as well, in addition to the outward stuff that we do and the external things. Anything else to add to what does the Beauty Blend podcast mean to you, Britt?
Oh, geez.
That's
a
loaded.
It's just a loaded question to me because the blend literally means like a blend of everything. So we're blending your not so average with the beautiful. Everyone has a place in the beauty industry, we believe. We're bridging that gap. But also it's blending, like we were talking about earlier, like the medical side, but we also, both of us have a very spiritual side and not trying to like make them two separate things. I feel like a lot of this is bridging things into harmony that we tend to, as humans, put things into boxes and feel like we need to label everything. And so this is what we're hoping to do is kind of open that box per se and bring it into more of like harmonious balance is what it really means to me. What about you?
Really just normalize. Actually, I felt like you just summed that up really, really well. Just blending, and I've said this a few times, I know, but like just blending everything that we do in our lives to just, again, live a happier and more enjoyable and be our authentic selves. And I'm not saying we have it down pat every single day. We are still working on ourselves, which makes us obviously very human. And
I feel like we always will.
Always will. I don't even
like to say work. I actually say love on ourselves because that seems like an exhausting kind of thing and not fun.
No, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? And we have a lot of different fun tools, I think, that can make it not seem like a daunting task.
And when you truly do connect to your like authentic self, it is fun. Like you just feel whole. And that's what we want. I want to feel whole every single day. And of course, again, we're human. So it's not like I'm 100% every single day I wake up. Some days it takes more things that we have to do to bring my level back up. Sometimes it's like I need a midday break because I'm drained. I, for some reason, kind of feel disconnected to myself. But yeah, really just wanting the blend, the beauty blend to just help other people feel really like they can love themselves and that who they are is perfectly okay despite what standards society has set for all of us and we have set for ourselves. So,
but I would also say like a lot of it has to do with kind of the society we live in now and coming back to like our internal true self. I guess true self, but like I don't know, just coming back to like who you are without all the outside distractions. I feel like
that's good.
Like even just say me being an esthetician, I had a lot of outside distractions telling me like that I need to go a certain path to be quote successful or make money or whatever. And I actually used to look at the beauty industry kind of like a joke. I'm not gonna be just because of different programming. And there's obviously a ton of money to be made in the beauty industry. It's like one of the fastest, biggest growing things.
Still growing.
But like there's just all these different stories that we tell ourselves for different things, and they can be all over the board for.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, there's a lot of programming that we have either done to ourselves, other people have done for us. just stigmas, I think, that are on a lot of these topics too.
Right.
So
So
yeah, we
what-
want to break those barriers down. And
would you say that's the goal of the podcast? Like, what are you hoping that our viewers get out of this?
I hope our viewers at least get maybe little tips that they can incorporate into their everyday lives, just to make themselves at least kind of put some pieces back together, make themselves feel better. Really just want you to leave our I really, like I keep saying, I just want you to leave our podcast knowing that you're really not alone in probably how you're feeling. Like we feel like this all the time. A lot of what we're going to talk about, we've probably been talking to each other about for several years. So our goal is really, I just hope you guys all know that you are beautiful and loved, and I hope you love yourselves and you don't need someone else to validate that for you. And I hope we can provide you some tips to help you get some internal validation.
All that plus you're welcome in the beauty industry no matter what you look like.
I totally agree. Yes. Welcome to the beauty industry. But we're very happy to have you guys here at the Beauty Blend. Is there anything else you want to add about what this podcast is? I think we gave a good sum up. So we look forward to having you in future episodes. We have a lot of exciting topics coming up for you and can't wait to have you join our journey. Yep.
Bye, beauties.
Bye, beauties.
Boxland Media. Think big.